Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to put on our consultant hats. You see, every single business, every process, it has this hidden rhythm, this pulse of efficiency. But it also has hidden friction, right? This invisible waste that just gums up the works and frustrates customers. So our job today is to uncover it. We're going to arm you with a diagnostic toolkit of lean metrics that will let you see your workflow in a totally new light.
So let's just start with the big question. Think about it. Where is the hidden waste in your process? It doesn't matter if you're making software, publishing books, or just serving coffee. There is waste hiding in plain sight. It's in the waiting, the rework, the handoffs. It's that silent drag on your productivity. But here's the good news. You can't fix what you can't see, but you can measure it. And that's exactly what we're about to do. So here's our game plan, our roadmap for this little process health check. First, we're going to frame the problem, seeing that invisible waste. Then I'm going to introduce you to the golden rule that governs pretty much all processes. From there, we'll dive into our diagnostics, breaking them down into two key areas, metrics of time and metrics of flow. We'll pull it all together to calculate the ultimate score for your process's health, and then I'll leave you with a challenge. Ready? Let's dive in. Okay, so first things first. To improve any system, you have to have a baseline. You need to know where you're starting from, and that's where lean metrics come in. Honestly, think of them like a set of high-powered lenses that make all those invisible sources of friction, the delays, the bottlenecks, the queues, suddenly pop into view. They become visible, and more importantly, they become measurable. You know, the whole philosophy here is actually really simple. It's kind of like two sides of the same coin. On one side, you are just ruthlessly focused on minimizing waste, and that's anything that doesn't add value for your customer. Then on the other side, you're obsessed with speed. And it makes sense, right? When you cut out the waste, you naturally shorten the time it takes to deliver that value. And that means happier customers and, let's be honest, a healthier bottom line. All right, let's get to the bedrock principle of all of this. If you take away only one thing today, make it this. Little's Law. It's like the E equals MC squared of process dynamics. It's just this elegant, undeniable relationship between the three most important factors in any system. It's our foundational diagnostic tool. So, in simple terms, the law shows that the amount of stuff you have going on in your system at any one time is a direct function of how fast you're finishing things and how long each one of those things takes to get through. It creates this beautiful, predictable relationship between your inventory, your speed, and your delivery time. And look, understanding this is the first step to actually controlling your process instead of letting it control you. And here it is, that elegant little formula. Let's break it down really quick. So, WIP, that's work in progress. It's all the stuff, the inventory in your system. We're talking every book being printed, every patient in the waiting room, every line of code that's being tested. Flow time is the total time from start to finish for one single unit to make that whole journey. And throughput, that's your completion rate. How many things you finish per day, per hour, per week, whatever. Let's make this real. Imagine a publishing house. Okay, so at any given moment, they've got 500 books in different stages of printing. That's their WIP. And their system, it can finish and ship 100 books every day. That's their throughput. So the big question is, can we predict how long it takes for a single book to get all the way through? You bet we can. That's the magic of Little's Law. We just flip the formula around. Flow time equals your work in progress divided by your throughput. So in this case, 500 books divided by 100 books per day, and there it is, a flow time of exactly 5 days. Okay, now that we have our foundational law down, we can start our deep dive. So consultant style, we're going to break our diagnostic metrics down into two clean categories. First up, time. Now, it sounds simple, but there are a few different ways to measure it, and each one tells a really different story about the health of your process. Now this is a super important distinction that trips a lot of people up. Flow time, which we just calculated, that's what the customer feels. It's the total calendar time from I placed my order to my order shipped for one item. For our book, it's 5 days. Cycle time, though, that's an internal view. It's the average time between two finished items coming off the production line. If you make 100 books a day, your cycle time is 1/100th of a day, which is about 14 minutes. It's like the heartbeat of your operation. Now let's zoom in even further to the most granular level, touch time. It's often called value-added time, and it's only the time someone is physically or digitally working on the item. It's the printer printing, the surgeon operating, the programmer coding. To get this number, you literally have to stand there with a stopwatch and observe. And this is so important because it isolates that tiny sliver of pure value from the huge ocean of waiting and waste that usually surrounds it. And as you're about to see, the difference between the two can be pretty shocking. Okay, so we've dissected time. Now let's look at the second major category in our diagnostic, flow. This is all about the volume, the movement, and the state of work as it moves through your process. Or, more often, as it just sits there. This is where we're going to find the bottlenecks. So, we've already met throughput and WIP, right? They're part of Little's Law. Throughput is your output rate. WIP is your total inventory. But the new and really important metric here is work in queue. This is the part of your WIP that is just sitting, completely idle, waiting for a person or a machine to be free. In our publishing house, this is that stack of printed pages just sitting there, waiting for the binding machine to finish its current job. That queue time? That is pure 100% waste. And this quote from the source material absolutely nails it. Queues are the silent killers of efficiency. A long queue is a major warning sign. It's not just a line of people or things. It is a direct cause of hidden costs and customer frustration. And we know from Little's Law, it directly inflates the time it takes to get anything done. If you want to manage your flow, you have to manage your queues. So, we've got our fundamental law. We've gathered our data on both time and flow. Now it's time for the big reveal. We're going to synthesize all this information into a single, powerful diagnostic number. This is the moment we calculate the true efficiency of our process. To get our efficiency score, first we need the denominator for our equation, total lead time. This is the absolute wall clock time from the second an order starts to the second it finishes. And the key thing here is that it includes both the time work is being done and all the time spent waiting around in queues. It's the whole journey. So let's rewind to our publishing house. Remember, before we did anything, our diagnosis using Little's Law told us they had a flow time of 5 days. That was our baseline, the before picture of the process's health. But then the team ran what's called a Kaizen event, an improvement blitz. They standardized some work, upgraded a machine, and really attacked those wait times between steps. Their throughput jumped from 100 to 142 books a day. Now, you plug that back into Little's Law with the same 500 books of WIP, and the new flow time drops to about 3.5 days. It's a perfect illustration of how attacking waste has a direct impact on your overall speed. And now for the final calculation, process cycle efficiency. It's a really simple and, frankly, brutally honest ratio. You take all the time that value was actually being added, our touch time. Then you divide it by the total lead time we just talked about. The result tells you what percentage of the total time was spent creating value and what percentage was just waste. So let's apply it. After watching the process, they found that the actual touch time for a book, the printing, the cutting, the binding, all adds up to 18 hours. Now we divide that by the total lead time. Our original flow time was 5 days, which for this business is a 40-hour work week. So we divide 18 hours of real value by the 40-hour total time, and we get our process cycle efficiency, 45%. Now just stop and think about what this number means. Even in this process, more than half the time, a full 55% is non-value added waste. That is time that the book is just sitting there, waiting. That is a direct cost to the business, tying up capital and delaying revenue. This is the hidden inefficiency we set out to find, and now it is crystal clear. And just to put that 45% into perspective, the benchmark for a process to even be considered lean is 25%, which means our publishing house is actually doing pretty well. In a lot of industries, especially in knowledge work or services, it is not uncommon to see efficiency scores in the single digits. I mean, think about that. A score of 10% means for every hour of work, 54 minutes are pure waste. That is a massive drain on your resources, on employee morale, and on your ability to compete. So let's recap our little consulting engagement here. We started with a universal problem, hidden waste. We anchored our whole analysis in a fundamental principle, Little's Law. Then, we systematically gathered our data, breaking down the components of time and flow. And finally, we brought it all together into one clear, powerful diagnosis, the process cycle efficiency score. We've just walked through the entire diagnostic toolkit. You now have the framework to measure the invisible, to understand the physics of your workflow, and to calculate its true efficiency. So the only question left is the one that really matters to you. Take a look at your own work, your own team's process. Now that you have the tools, what's your score?